Hey there, it's about drawing heads, and been drawing heads for a long, long time. Used a lot of different approaches, theory, things like that. Of course, there's the underlying structure of the skull, which of course is quite important. You do see some things these days online where it will go into all these planes of the features, and there are lots and lots and lots of them. And I actually don't recommend that you go too far into the planes because, well, I won't go into all that right now, but it gets so in detail, but it gets so complicated, and there's not really a reason for it because you can always figure out what the planes are when you're doing the drawing, because essentially what you're doing is you've got an area where the light, there's a shadow break. So the planes you need to understand are the ones that are along where the shadow would fall. And you can basically figure those out in a, a customized sort of way as needed when you're doing the drawing. So anyway, having said that, what a head is, essentially, if you want to isolate it, it's a lot like a wig stand, right? You may have seen wig stands in stores, right? Thing about a head is front heavy, so that if someone loses consciousness, for example, the head will tip forward. So it's the muscles that keep the head erect, otherwise it would flop forward. Now, one thing about faces is that, say for example, you're drawing a head at an unusual angle, turned up like this, say. These can get pretty hard to do and hard to make them where they're plausible and realistic. For example, this one isn't necessarily all that realistic. Of course, I did it fairly quickly. But what my big trick is here for drawing heads and faces, basically, if you think of a Halloween mask, right? What's a Halloween mask? It's a piece of plastic that fits over the face, has a string around the back, and has two eye holes. And it, may have features as well, right? And when it fits on the head, then the head comes around, you got the ear, and so on. But basically, the mask approach, and I use it as well. So if you think about the mask from the outside, looking at it from the front, it's basically a solid form with two eye holes. Also, if you look at it from the inside, it's a solid form with two eye holes and perhaps a shadow, right? So anyway, no matter where you're drawing the head, when time comes to start applying the features, the eye is basically number one, most important to get in the correct place, because you can make everything else fit around that. So with this head, for example, if you imagine that the mask is on there, where would the eye fall? And it gets to be so easy to place that eye, and there's your mask, right? And this works for all those difficult, complex angles like the upward view. So here, if you imagine a tabletop and your mask is laying on the table, I mean, you could be seeing it from any angle. I'll flip it upside down, right? Now you're seeing the mask from above, right? Well, you just drew a very difficult angle for a head. So no matter what angle you're drawing, see, here's another head looking down, eye holes. That's basically of supreme importance. And then you add the other stuff. And also where the hairline is. Masks, of course, go along with that. They end at the hairline, so it makes that easy as well. And essentially, the other parts of the head, the back of the head, the neck, the ears, there's never any expression there. They're not necessarily very important. All this stuff on the mask is what's important. And also, thing to remember about the mask is that no matter what your character is that you're drawing, like here it's a monster or vampire or something like that, Once you begin to think of this in terms of a mask, then it becomes very easy to memorize your shapes, your forms, and transfer them to your next drawing of this character. So anyway, the mask approach, as I call it. Let me know how it goes, okay?